Marvel Rivals just dropped some official balance patch notes for the upcoming Season 2 update. Today, I'm going to break these down as quickly as possible. Hit that like button if this helps you out at all, but let's go ahead and start off with the Vanguards. Captain America is having his base health reduced from 675 down to 650, and they're also reducing the shield value of Living Legend from 400 to 350. Doctor Strange is having his damage per projectile decreased from 18 down to 16, and they're also reducing the Maelstrom of Madness conversion ratio of dark magic to damage from 1.3 down to 1.2. When it comes to the Hulk, they have increased his base movement speed from 600 up to 650, and they've also reduced the cooldown time for Indestructible Guard from 12 seconds down to 10 seconds. On top of that, they have decreased the minimum charge time for Incredible Leap from 0.7 seconds down to 0.5 seconds. When it comes to Magneto, they have increased the energy cost for his ultimate ability from 3,100 all the way up to 3,400. Moving on into Penny Parker, her Cyber Web cluster now has a chance to critical hit, and they've also reduced the movement speed penalty while firing the Cyber Web cluster from 40% down to 20%. On top of that, they've increased her base health from 650 all the way up to 750. I played a lot of Penny Parker in ranked last season, and I very much so anticipate jumping back into her. But let's go ahead and move on into the Thing, where they have decreased Embattled Leap's damage reduction effect for himself and his teammates from 30% down to 25%. And then finally, the final Vanguard is Thor. They have increased his base health from 525 up to 600, and they've also increased his base movement speed from 600 all the way up to 650. Now let's go ahead and move on into the duelists here, starting off with Black Widow. They have added a new effect where Black Widow can directly shoot after releasing the second kick of Edge Dancer, and also after using the Electro Plasma Explosion, her ultimate ability. Moving on into Hawkeye, they have reduced the slow effect while charging the bow from 30% down to 20%, and then they've also increased both instances of damage for Hypersonic Arrow from 50 up to 55. And then finally, when it comes to his ultimate, they have decreased the cost from 3,700 down to 3,100, and they've improved the bow draw speed, increasing it from 1.35 to 1.5. Jumping into Hela, they have increased the cooldown for Astral Flock from 12 seconds up to 15 seconds, and they've also increased the spell field damage of Piercing Knight from 30 up to 35. And then finally, they have decreased the cooldown time for Soul Drainer from 12 seconds down to 10 seconds. Moving on into the Human Torch, they have reduced the attack interval for Fire Cluster from 0.6 seconds to 0.5 seconds. The launch timing of the primary attack projectile has been advanced. They've also increased the cooldown for Flaming Meteor from 12 seconds up to 15 seconds, but they've added in a new effect where after releasing the Flaming Meteor, you're immediately going to gain 75 bonus health, which is going to start to fall off 3 seconds later at the rate of 30 health per second. Let's go ahead and move on into Iron Man, where they have slightly reduced his hitbox size, and they've also implemented a new feature giving him 100 bonus health when he activates Armor Overdrive or Gamma Overdrive. That is going to start to fall off after 5 seconds at a rate of 30 per second. Moving on into Iron Fist, they have reduced the bonus max health gained from Harmony Recovery from 150 down to 100, but they have slowed the fall off rate of that health from 25 per second down to 15 per second. They've lowered the fixed damage of whatever ability this is from 10 down to 9, but they've increased the percentage damage of the enemy's max health per strike from 1.7 to 2.1. They've also decreased the cooldown for his kick from 12 seconds down to 10 seconds. Moving on into Mr. Fantastic, they have increased his base health from 350 to 375. We might as well call this guy a Vanguard, but they've also boosted the damage of Stretch Punch from 60 to 65 and from 75 to 80 while you're in the inflated state. They've added a new effect to Flexible Elongation where enemies within the range will now suffer a 35% slow effect, and they've also reduced the cooldown from 10 seconds down to 8 seconds. seconds. They've reduced the elasticity gained from elastic strength, his passive ability, from 30 down to 20. However, they've increased the elasticity provided by Stretch Punch from 5 up to 8. When it comes to his inflated state, the bonus health that is provided there has been reduced from 450 down to 400. And then finally, they've added in a new feature. When Mr. Fantastic uses his Brainiac Bounce, his ultimate ability, he's going to immediately gain bonus health equal to that gained when entering the inflated state. Let's go ahead and move on into Moon Knight here, who has a bit of some controversial changes coming into play. Starting off, they've increased the crescent dart projectile speed from 120 meters per second to 150 meters per second. The Moon Blade ability also has a new effect, which is going to gain Moon Knight 25 bonus health with each enemy hit up to a maximum of 100. 3 seconds after the bonus health stops increasing, it is going to start to fall off at a rate of 20 per second. They've also sped up his hook pull startup time from 0.4 seconds to 0.15 seconds. And then they've extended the duration of his ultimate ability from 3.5 seconds all the way up to 4.5 seconds. And they've increased the number of talons generated during this period from 14 all the way up to 18. Additionally, the fall speed of the talons has been slightly enhanced. A new damage fall off mechanic for the spell field has been added, though, beginning at 1.5 meters from the center and reaching a maximum reduction of 70% at 5 meters. So it'll be interesting to see how Moon Knight ends up shaping out inside of Season 2, another character that I love to main. But let's go ahead and move on into the Scarlet Witch, where they have removed chaos control percentage damage while increasing the fixed damage from 60 per second to 80 per second. They've increased the burst projectile damage from 35 up to 40, as well as the spell field damage from 35 up to 40 as well. They've increased the cooldown of Mystic Projection from 8 seconds up to 10 seconds, and reduced the phased state time from 2 seconds down to 1.5 seconds. They've done a rework of the slow effect of Reality Erasure, which is going to start at 1.5 seconds instead of starting immediately, with a linear increase to 35% slow over 3.5 seconds. Moving on into Star-Lord, they have reduced the blaster barrage damage from 80 per second down to 75, introducing a new damage fall-off mechanic starting at 4 meters and maxing out at 80% reduction at 8 meters. When it comes to Winter Soldier, they have increased the cooldown time for his bionic hook ability from 8 seconds up to 12 seconds. They've also reduced the base damage of Kraken Impact, his ultimate ability, from 100 down to 80, while also lowering the culling threshold from 20% of the maximum health down to 15%. And then finally, the last duelist we have to break down is Wolverine, where they have increased the rage gained from Savage Claw hits from 7 up to 10, while on the other hand, rage has been decreased for the Berserk Claw Strike from 7 down to 5. They've also reduced the rage gain from Feral Leap from 20 down to 10, and from Vicious Rampage from 20 down to 15. However, rage gained from taking damage has been increased from 3 to 5. They've also reduced the time an enemy is knocked down after impact from Last Stand, his ultimate ability, from 1 second down to 0.75 seconds. Finally, we have the strategist to break down, starting off with Adam Warlock. They have increased the cooldown for Soul Bond from 30 seconds up to 40 seconds, and his ultimate ability is now going to restore 30% of a fallen ally's maximum health instead of a fixed 100 health. That should help with his ultimate ability there just a little bit. Moving on to Cloak and Dagger, though, after activating Eternal Bond, her ultimate ability, the duration of the first 3 healing zones will no longer be calculated separately. Instead, they are going to remain active until the duration of the final healing zone ends, at which point all of them will be removed together. When it comes to Invisible Woman, they are decreasing the shield value of Guardian Shield from 300 down to 250. And when it comes to Loki, they are increasing his regeneration domain cooldown from 25 seconds up to 30 seconds. Mantis is having her base health reduced from 275 down to 250, and the effects of her Healing Flower and Allied Inspiration can be stacked up to a maximum of 16 seconds. Doesn't look like like they're doing anything to Jeff. So the final strategist we have to break down is Rocket Raccoon, where they are decreasing the healing area of repair mode spheres from 70 health per second to 50 health per second, but they're adding a new effect of a one-time healing of 55 health to allies hit. The projectile speed reduction has also been increased from 4.5 meters per second to 7 meters per second. They've extended the cooldown for jetpack dash from 6 seconds all the way up to 10 seconds, and they've reduced the dash distance from 10 meters down to 8 meters. And then finally, they've reduced his ultimate ability damage boost from 40% down to 25%, but they've added in a new effect where during the ability's duration, linked allies will receive an additional 100 bonus health points per second, capping at 150. After breaking the link, this bonus starts to fall off after 1 second at a rate of 75 health per second. Additionally, they've increased the energy cost for his ultimate ability from 3,700 all the way up to 4,000. That's it when it comes to heroes and their adjustments while heading into season 2. Let me know if your main got hit at all, whether it be a nerf or a buff. There is a list at the bottom here talking about new team up abilities and adjusted or removed team up abilities. Let me know down in the comments if you want me to make a video breaking those down. But that's all I wanted to talk about today. I hope you guys all have an amazing day. I'm out.